Hello and welcome back to our channel My Time My Teacher. In this video we will talk about class 11th, last chapter of the second book, Indian Sociologist. This chapter has total 4 sociologists in it: G.S. Ghurye, M.N. Srinivas, A.R. Desai, and number 4 is D.P. Mukherjee. So we'll talk about all these 4 in details one by one, because these were the 4 prominent sociologists who started sociology in India since very beginning. After that, nowadays we are studying. In 1919, sociology was started at Bombay University, and in 1924, G.S. Ghurye was the first one to become the head of the department of sociology at Bombay University. So in this video, we will talk about all this one by one. First of all, we'll talk about G.S. Ghurye. G.S. Ghurye, the full name of G.S. Ghurye is Govind Sadashiv Ghurye. He was born in 1893 and died at the age of 90 in 1983. He was born in a family of businessmen. His father was a businessman. At the time of his birth, the family business was doing well, but soon after, the business was not doing as well as it was doing earlier. He took his education, higher education. After that, in 1924, he was appointed as the lecturer, reader, head of the Department of Sociology at Bombay University. Since 1924 till his retirement for approx 35 years, he remained the head of the department at Bombay University. After that, after retirement, also he worked hard, and you can see here totally he published 30 books. Out of 30 books, 17 books were published after his retirement. 13 books he wrote while he was doing the job, he was working. After retirement, also 17 books were written. This is a little bit about his life, how he was doing. Now let's come to the main work which he has given to us. That is the caste and race. His ideas on caste and race that are prominent, that are very important for us to keep in mind. While it is also important to talk about Rischle, one of the foreign sociologist who gave us the concept of caste and race in the country India. He, according to his theory, he divided the society into 2 parts, the upper caste and the lower caste. And on the basis of different kind of categories, different kind of measurements of the hair, head and the skull, he gave the concept that the people of the upper caste, they were basically the Aryans who came from another country to India. And the people of lower caste, they were basically the non-Aryans. That was his concept. When the concept reached to G.S. Ghurye, he tried to understand that and gave his own theory. He did not reject the theory of Rischle completely, but tried to add something more into that. He said it is true, but not about the whole India. The concept, the theories given by Rischle regarding the upper caste and lower caste, they are only true about the North India, not the other parts of the India. Because North India, the caste restrictions, the marriages, intercaste marriages were not allowed since long. While Ghurye said that if we talk about the another parts of the country, then the people were already getting mixed with other caste. So it is very difficult to find out whether they were Aryans or not Aryans, because the pure breed was not there. The intercaste marriages were going on in the other parts of India except North India. So whatever Rischle said, that can only be true about North India, not about the other parts of the country. So Ghurye also gave us the features of caste. He gave basically 6 features of the caste. The first is segmental division. He said that caste is something which comes out of the birth. When the child takes birth, at the time of the birth, the caste of the child is decided. Nobody is supposed to change the caste after the birth. Whatever caste is given to you, you have to follow the same. You are the member of the caste. You cannot change it at any cost. The second one, hierarchical division. He also said that caste comes in a hierarchical division. Like, it is not like you can change at any order, any time, or in any generation. It comes in hierarchical order. Like your grandparents and forefathers, they belong to a particular caste and you are supposed to follow the same. You are not supposed to change it at any cost. The third one is restriction on social interactions. This means the caste also tells us about the social interaction, that we should interact with particular caste and we should not interact with particular caste. You can call it the concept of touchability, untouchability, or the concept of pollution and purity. That is also based on the caste. Number 4 is the rights and duties. Every caste has particular rights and the duties and they are supposed to follow them also. Number 5 is the choice of occupation. It was also important for the people to follow the occupation which are supposed to be made for their own caste only. They could not change the occupation. For example, barber, for example, tailor, for example, the shepherds, for example, the cleaners. Like these, all people were supposed to do their own work. For example, the Vaishyas, for example, the Kshatriyas. So they were just supposed to do whatever occupation is fixed according to their own caste. They will do that only, nothing else. They are not supposed to change it. And number 6, the last one is strict restriction on marriage. Nobody was supposed to do intercaste marriage. Only endogamy was supposed to be done, the marriage within the caste. You cannot change the caste. You cannot bring a girl or a boy from any other caste to get married. Right? These were the 6 features of the caste which Ghurye suggested in his publication. That is very important for understanding the caste in a better way, right? Now we are coming to the second sociologist, that is D.P. Mukherjee, Durjati Prasad Mukherjee. He was born in 1894 in a middle class Bengali family and he died in 1961. In 1924, he was appointed lecturer at Lucknow University. And you should also remember that in 1924 also, G.S. Ghurye was appointed lecturer and HOD at Bombay University. This was the same time. Bombay University was the first one to start sociology in 1919. Lucknow University was the second one to start sociology in 1920 all over India. He gave his theories on tradition and change. India is basically a country of tradition. He said that a sociologist, an Indian sociologist, means a person who belongs to India, a person who is born in India, a person who is living in India, a person who is enjoying the tradition of India. The one who is not born, the one who has not enjoyed, the one who has not lived in the society of India cannot be an Indian sociologist. Because the Indian tradition is so deep that you cannot read it out of the books. You have to go inside, you have to live there, you have to spend time, you have to enjoy the tradition. Only then you can be a sociologist, you can be a person of the society. Just reading in the books can't help you to understand the tradition. That was believed by D.P. Mukherjee. After that, he also gave us the theories of change. That tradition is there, it is coming since so long, but the tradition also changes from time to time. You can call it the modification. How it goes? It goes basically on 3 principles. The Shruti, Smriti, Anubhav. Shruti means listening capacity, when we listen. How? When we listen about the concept, when we listen about the theories of the people, the ideas of the people, that there is a modification required, then we try to change it. Smriti means remember. If you remember that certain things are required to be changed, otherwise they will meet with certain kind of disasters, then also you can change it. The last one is Anubhav. Anubhav means experience. If you are living in the society and you are experiencing that, a modification is required, otherwise the society will be in the loss. Then also you can put a change in the tradition of the country, of the society where you are living. These three are the principles according to D.P. Mukherjee which can lead to the change in the tradition and obviously the change in the society also. Number 3 is, our third sociologist is A.R. Desai, Akshay Ramanlal Desai. He was born in 1915 and he died in 1994. This is, you can call now, he was a sociologist of the second generation. The first generation we are taking G.S. Ghurye and D.P. Mukherjee. The second one is the modern one, like they were born in 1915, and you can see after that he completed his PhD in 1946 under the guidance of D.P. Mukherjee, G.S. Ghurye at Bombay University. Now these students have started to come as a sociologist. A.R. Desai gave his views on state, especially on the welfare state. He gave us ideas about the welfare state, and he said a welfare state is a state which is a positive state. Positive state means where all the people are living with positive thinking. The positivity is there. They are hoping for the better future. They are working for the better future. The government is planning for a better future always. The second is, welfare state is a democratic state. Democratic state means where the birth-based privileges are not there. The people, those who are deserving, can come forward, can lead the country, can lead the nation, can lead the state. That is called a democratic state where the people, the leaders are elected. The third one, he said that welfare state is a state where we have mixed economy. Mixed economy means where we are having both the public sector and private sector. Both the sector are together and they are working for the better future of the nation, of the state. That is called a welfare state. He also gave us the criteria to identify which one can be called a welfare state. How to test it. According to him, a state where all the poor people are improving their economic status, all the people are having jobs, all the people are living happily, all the people are getting the medical facilities, all the people are getting the jobs, all the people are getting the treatment, all the people are getting the food, all are having equal economic sources. That state is called a welfare state. It is true that that is not possible to have all kind of things like income. We cannot have the same income for all the people in any state. That is not possible. But according to A.R. Desai, the welfare state we can call where all the people are earning equally. Right? So these kind of criteria he gave to identify which state can be called a welfare state or not. Right? Number 4 we have, our 4 sociologist is M.N. Srinivas. M.N. Srinivas, Mysore Narasimhachar Srinivas. He was born at Mysore in 1916 and he died in 1999. He is also a sociologist from the second generation. In 1944, he completed his PhD under the same G.S. Ghurye from Bombay University. And his views, basically, he has given the views on village. According to him, village is the place in the society where we can have a lot of variations. If you want to see the tradition, if you want to see the culture, if you want to see the society, if you want to see the cooperation among the people, that all you can find in the villages. The cities are not the place where the society exists properly. Village is the place where you can find everything easily and in a better manner, in a proper order. And India, because it's a country of villages, so there are a lot of villages, lot of traditions, lot of cultures, lot of languages, lot of folk dance, folk languages, folk songs. Everything related with the village is a topic for research. That is not possible anywhere in any other country or in any city. So according to M.N. Srinivas, village is a matter of study and village is the real place where we can have sociology. Because any other place is not suitable for sociological research and to have the differences, to find out the variations in the society. That is the only place. So dear students, these were all 4 sociologists which we have in the chapter. Hope this video will help you to understand. If you really think like this, subscribe my channel if you have not, and press the bell icon so that you can get the notifications regarding the new videos. Okay? Hope in 12th class also you can see a lot of videos of 12th class there, including the project, all the project guidelines, the headings, separate videos are over there, moreover the chapters. So enjoy there also. All the best for your final exams. Take care. Hope you all will go to 12th class. Thank you.